Hi there, how's everyone doing? I hope you're all well. I hope you're all keeping great, and most importantly, I hope you're all staying safe and looking after yourselves and your loved ones and other people's loved ones as well. I decided to make a video today because I wanted to talk about a subject which is very close to my heart. It's a subject which gets spoken of nowhere nearly enough. Which is kind of ridiculous because it's something which affects 1 in every 3 of us. It's a very serious subject matter which ruins millions of lives all over the world every day. And it is rife. What I'm talking about is a freaking pandemic. Now, when I say pandemic, the most common initial reactions to think about a pandemic like the one that we are going through at the moment. We're the coronavirus pandemic. Right now we're going through a very scary, very real, very deadly pandemic, which I am in no way whatsoever trying to undermine the seriousness of, nor am I trying to downplay the importance of protecting oneself from that virus, because we have to protect ourselves from it, because it's very real, it's very scary, it's very dangerous. But the illness which I refer to is one which a person can suffer from for years, and no one will know, because this illness is one which is unseen, unheard, unspoken of, often until sadly it is too late for that person and they have succumbed to the illness and it has taken their life. This illness, it's deadly, it's unseen, it's unnoticed, because it is commonly masked, hidden and concealed. Why so, you may ask? Well, the reason is because the illness which I'm referring to is mental illness. Mental illnesses such as depression. And what I find really, really insane is that today in 2020, in 2020, mental illness is still treated as a taboo subject. It's not something that we are typically encouraged to talk about or praised for speaking of. It's a subject which people feel uncomfortable addressing. It's treated like a taboo subject. There is very much still a stigma attached. There is a shame and there is a stigma associated with mental illness, and there shouldn't be. But there are, and I don't care what some of you may try to dispute me on this, but I don't care what anybody says. There absolutely is still a stigma attached to mental illness, which is sad because, one, it perpetuates the problem, hinders people from getting better, and three, there shouldn't be. There really shouldn't be. We should have moved on from there. But sadly, it is still treated with stigma and with prejudice. As a result, people do not get supported. They do not get anywhere nearly enough the amount of support that they need. There's not enough resources, research, or treatment, or insight into mental illness. The onus is still placed very much on the person who is ill themselves to somehow make themselves better, and this subject is more important now than ever, because what we're going through right now with the isolation and anxiety associated with the coronavirus and the lockdown, it's playing havoc with people's mental health. And I know there are going to be many people watching this who are not in a great place right now. And what I want to say to anyone watching this who is in that dark place, and I know what that dark place is, anyone who is there or feels like they're getting near there, what I want to say to anyone watching this who is there is, firstly, you're not alone. Okay, you may feel like you are, but you're not. Okay, you may feel unheard, you may feel invisible, but your pain, what you're feeling right now, it is heard, it is seen, it is noticed. You are worthwhile, you're special, you're loved, you're strong, and you will get through this. You must believe that, okay? But, and those who disagree with me on any of this have obviously never experienced mental illness themselves, or never seen a loved one suffer from mental illness. There's nothing worse than looking into a loved one's eyes when someone you love is mentally ill, and seeing the pain and fear in their eyes, and knowing that no matter what you do, you cannot make that person better. You can't sort out what's going on in here and take away their pain. Or the helplessness of being ill yourself and thinking, oh God, I'm never going to get better. And how difficult a subject it is to even talk about. If you've experienced yourself, you'll know just how tough what I'm talking about is. And as I said, it is an illness which sadly people can have for years, and they just keep quiet about until it has eroded their mind, their personality, and their life to the extent that the pain they are in is just too much, and they sadly end their own lives by suicide. And there are many people, far too many people, have their lives taken this way by mental illness, and that should not be the case. That absolutely should not be the case, and we really need to start thinking what we can do, whether it's changing our attitudes, whether it's more insight, more research, more treatment for mental illness, but whatever we can do to try and address this problem, we need to. We really have to. Because some people get better, but sadly too many people don't. Many people feel, when they're mentally ill, they feel like a burden. They feel a burden, like a nuisance. There are people who are mentally ill are shamed and feel guilty for speaking about their illness. And, as I said, this is largely due to lack of knowledge and lack of understanding regarding mental illness. I mean, those who have never suffered from mental illness, many of these people assume that mental illness, depression, for example, is something that you can just snap out of, by, for example, and this is many of the advice quotes that you get from people. By God, is it frustrating? Like people will say to you, for example, just change your diet. Just change your diet. Try eating healthier. Get up out of bed earlier. Just push yourself. You just need to push yourself. Get outside more. Do more exercise. Just stop thinking so negative. Like, seriously, do these people seriously think that person who's mentally ill is not beating himself up enough already, and already feeling useless and pathetic, and remind himself every day just how useless they are for not being able to do simple everyday tasks that would be easy for someone who did not have a mental illness? What people who give this type of advice to mentally ill people are, all they're doing is making that person feel more of a burden than they already feel. And as I said, there is a lack of care, there is a lack of understanding about mental illness, and this is something that I've seen through my own experiences through the years. An example of lack of understanding towards mental illness, which I could give, which is commonly seen and experienced, is, for example, someone could be hosting a party or a seminar or a workshop or a class, whatever, some kind of big, important, exciting event that they wanted everyone to come to. So For example, supposing an attendee at that event turned up with some form of physical ailment or injury. You know, somebody, for example, supposing someone turned up with maybe a broken arm or a broken leg, maybe they had a walking stick, maybe they had impaired vision, maybe they'd been getting treatment for cancer, and, you know, any kind of illness or injury that was either known to everyone at that event that they had been suffering from, or could be seen right away by other people. So if someone turned up like that, they would be treated with praise and encouragement for having came to the event, and rightly so. You know, there's nothing at all wrong with that. That is the reaction that they should receive. But they would be told, you know, oh, well done. Oh, God, you're such a trooper. Oh, you're such a soldier. You're so brave. You know, you've been in so much pain. You've been so ill, but you made it here. Oh, I'm so glad you made it. I'm so glad to have you here today. I feel proud of you for having pushed yourself to come here today. You know, they'll be made to feel like the hero of the freaking hour, which, as I say, is great. You know, that's fantastic. But, and here's the but, would someone who has been suffering from mental illness be given the same level of encouragement and support and praise? And unfortunately, the answer is sadly no. Which, you know, is very sad, because if someone assumes that a person with mental illness has not pushed himself to with such a gargantuan level of force and determination to get to that event as someone with physical illness has, then they're very wrong. You know, a person with mental illness has performed a freaking gargantuan task to get there at this event today, or on that day. You know, if someone with mental illness has pushed himself to get up out of bed, get dressed, make themselves look presentable, take whatever mode of transport they have to get to go to this event where they know there's going to be lots of people, usually lots of people that they don't know are meeting for the first time. You know, if they have pushed themselves to go through all that, that's because they damn well wanted to be there. That is because turning up at that event meant everything to them. You know, they're not there because they're bored. They're not there because they have nothing better to do, and they're not there to piss around and just go, you know. They're there because they are prepared to give of themselves that day, because it really means so much to them to have came to this event. Yet they are made to feel like social lepers, and it's just so sad and so unfair. You know, and unless, like I said, and if you have never experienced mental illness yourself, it is impossible for you to fathom for even a millisecond how hard every day is for that person and how hard they have pushed themselves. But like I said, they're not given the same. They're not given praise and support and encouragement to the same extent that they have pushed themselves. I know certainly from my own experiences and my life, my education and my career in the industry that I work in, the entertainment and acting industry, I have come across various people, various professionals, teachers, school teachers, college teachers, tutors, mentors, etc. People who, quite frankly, should have known better. People who were, not necessarily bad people. It would be wrong of me to label anyone or name names or to assume that they were bad or uncaring people, because they weren't. But I think that just like many people, they just simply had a misunderstanding of mental illness. And I've seen too many people with this. Too many people have had this attitude of, what are you doing coming here with your negativity? You know, don't come into this room with all your problems and your illness. You know, you're bringing my class down. You're bringing my party down. You're bringing down the energy in my room. You're bringing down the energy in my class. You know, now, the thing is, if someone walked into that room, into that class, party, seminar, whatever, if someone walked in there with a broken leg, you know, would they say, oh God, here's so-and-so coming in here with their injuries and their illness. You know, I don't want to see their pain. I don't want to see their pain in my class. Don't come to my class with a broken leg. You'll bring down the energy in the room. You know, don't bring your injuries in here. You know, I can't help you with your injuries. Go else. Take your broken leg elsewhere. Don't bring the energy down in my class by coming in here with your pain. But you would never ever say that to somebody with a physical illness. Never. You know, they would never say that to them. So why the hell are people who have been suffering mentally treated with this stinking attitude? Because I'm sorry, that attitude, quite frankly, stinks. Yet it is an attitude that people who are mentally ill have to live with every frigging day, week, year of their life until they can make themselves better to the relief of everyone else. But this is the attitude that they have to live with, you know, on top of already being ill, as if things are difficult enough for them, you know? And it's so unfair because somebody who's mentally ill is ill, period. The exact same way someone who is physically ill is ill. If a person is sick, they're sick. It's not something you can just stick a plaster or a band-aid or a bandage over and it will just heal itself miraculously. No, just like physical illness, mental illness needs treatment, compassion, love, support, empathy. And of course, yes, a person does have a certain responsibility for themselves to the extent that they must admit and realise that they are ill, that they need help, and they must be willing to help themselves by seeking that help and accepting help. But without care and treatment, without understanding, without support and compassion from other people, ultimately they cannot recover. And this lack of compassion and empathy towards mental illness is something which makes me sad and makes me very angry, quite frankly. You know, instead of talking about mental illness, those who are ill, you know, are encouraged to keep quiet about it. You know, instead of talking and being open about their illness and being admitting, well, yeah, you know, it's been hell of a tough, but you know, I've been pushing myself. I've been trying my best to get better. You know, I've been getting treatment and therapy. I've been really, you know, pushing myself each day to do the best I can do. You know, instead of being encouraged to say that and being told that's fucking awesome when they say that, instead that they just keep quiet because they're ashamed. They are made to feel ashamed to admit that they're ill, and the result is that they pretend they're okay, which hinders a recovery. Why do the people who are mentally ill mask their illness and keep quiet? And that's because they are made to feel like they are selfish, and they're often labelled as these things, sometimes outright called these things: selfish, overdramatic, oversensitive, melodramatic, negative, you know. And the reality is far from it. You know, on the contrary, these people conceal their illnesses because they do not want ever to bring the energy down. The very last thing on earth that they want to do is make anyone else feel down for even a second. They don't want to ruin anyone else's class, party, parade. So they will put on a face someone who's happy, bubbly and smiley, and they will bloody well conceal their illness at all costs. Because it makes others feel more comfortable. Because other people don't want to know about mental illness. Because in many cases, in most cases, they just quite simply don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to help someone who's mentally ill. If someone with physical illness that you can see, it's kind of easier to know what to say, how to be around them. So I think that's why in many cases people feel more comfortable when dealing with that. But when it comes to mental illness, people just try to distance themselves from it and kind of reject the person who's mentally ill because they just don't want to deal with it, because they don't understand it, they don't know how to help that person. So they just, So, people are mentally ill, rather than burden anyone, they pretend that they're okay, that they're hunky-dory. When what they really need, most of all, is for someone in that party, class, seminar, workshop, whatever, to come up, put a hand on their shoulder and say, I'm so glad you're here today. I was hoping you'd make it. Oh, I'm so glad you turned up. How have you been? Are you okay? You doing okay today, yeah? You know I'm here for you, right? I can talk to you. You can talk to me about anything. I'm so glad that you made it here today. Your presence here just, it contributes so much to this party, class, whatever. It's awesome that you made it. And I want you to enjoy yourself here. I want you to feel good here. They need to be told things like that. They need to be given empathy and compassion and love. They don't need to be told that they're burden, that they're bringing the energy down, that they're, a nuisance in any way. And as I said, sadly, I've heard too many people over the years say certain words which have been detrimental to anyone in the room who could have been who was mentally ill. And as I said, these people were people who were not necessarily bad people. They weren't cruel people or heartless people, but just people with lack of knowledge and lack of empathy towards mental illness, which too many people have. And that's because there is lack of understanding, lack of education about mental illness. So I've seen many people in a kind of authoritarian or teaching position, positions which are meant to be one of helping people and building people up. And I've heard these same people, various people, I'm not trying to pick on anyone in particular. I'm just talking about the attitude in general that presides, that's predominant. And I've heard many people use the words, I don't care. If you're depressed, don't come to me. Don't bring your problems into my class. If you're depressed, if you hate yourself, go and talk to a doctor, go and see a shrink or psychiatrist, I don't want to hear about it, don't bring your problems into my class. I don't want to do that. I don't care. I don't care. And I thought to myself at that exact moment, several occasions, bingo. Therein lies the very problem. I don't care. And as I said, I've had professionals use these words. I don't care. I don't want to know. It's your problem, not mine. And I think to myself, so wrong. If a person is your friend, your workmate that sits beside you every day, your pupil, your student, then their problem, their pain, their suffering, their problem is your problem. And you do have a responsibility to be concerned, to ask them how they are, and to try and help them. Not to be distant and detached and certainly not to knock them down and hammer at their self-esteem, which they are already trying their best to build up. You know, those who say, I don't care, to the person, what they're basically saying is, no, conceal your illness. Please keep the front on. Conceal your illness. Don't let your illness show. Please conceal your illness, because it makes me feel more comfortable. You're burdening me with your illness. You know, and what a person essentially saying to you, you know, if you're mentally ill and someone's basically saying, I don't care about your illness, what they are basically saying to you in the heart and mind of that person who's mentally ill, the person who's like, it's your illness, I don't want to know. I don't care. I don't care about your illness. What they're basically saying is, I don't care about your illness, therefore I don't care about you. You know, which just breaks my heart, because these people cannot imagine or fathom or even handle for a microsecond the amount of strength, energy, courage, and ultimately selflessness from that person who is mentally ill to get to their event. They have given all and more required of them that day. You know, like I said, they have turned up that day because it has meant everything to them, and they have gave 100% and 100% more of themselves on top of that. So they should be given the same extent of applause, praise, and encouragement. Because, as I said earlier, mental illness is an illness just the same. Sick is sick. There should be no stigma. There should be no faking it. There should be no trying to conceal it. You know, if someone is ill, they are ill. Full stop. It's not their fault that they're ill. They didn't ask to become ill. They didn't want to become ill. They didn't choose to become ill. So no matter if someone is physically or mentally ill, an illness is an illness. And all illnesses should be treated with the same compassion and the same understanding and the same respect. You know, mental illness, people who are mentally ill shouldn't be made to feel like they're a burden, like they're a pain in the ass, like they're a nuisance, just be negative, not giving enough energy. You're not giving enough positivity. It's just your attitude. You have to change your mentality. Just think more positive. You're your own worst enemy. You're making yourself ill by thinking so negative. This is a crap that we get told, you know, which is fine for someone who is mentally well, but for those suffering from mental illness, it holds them back, you know. Oh, excuse me. Oh, feel a bit stiff. I'm going to move again. You know, you can't positively think an illness away. You know, if you had a broken leg, cancer, diabetes, could you make that go away just by positively thinking? I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, I'm sure being of a positive frame of mind helps you, it assists you in beating any illness, of course. But it doesn't, thinking positive itself doesn't make the illness disappear. It doesn't cure it. You know, you can't think an illness away. You know, just like you didn't think yourself ill. You know, you didn't make yourself ill by thinking negative. You didn't become ill through any fault of your own. So people who are ill, mentally ill, don't need to be made to feel this way. They don't need to be made to feel like it's their fault. Their fault and their responsibility to get better. They need compassion. They need love. They need understanding, and they need empathy. They don't need to be made to feel ridiculed. You know, they don't need to be made to feel. They don't need to be made to feel like a burden. You know, and for anyone who is suffering from mental illness, who has been made to feel like they are selfish, for anyone who's ever thought that people who are mentally ill are selfish, But I can tell you right now, the reverse is true. You know, far from being people who bring the energy down, the reality and the very sad thing is that, you know, the opposite is true. A person who is in extreme pain and severely depressed does not come into a class or party on a downer, morose, negative, bringing the energy down. Nah. Far from it. More often than not, and I can testify to this, because I was one of those people for too long, if anything, someone who is suffering from severe mental illness will walk into that event like the life and soul of the freaking party. You know, more often than not, they will be the one who is the most bubbly, laughing, mixing with people, being the clown, the joker, you know, the one who's making people laugh, and essentially the one who's given the most. You know, like I said, people who are mentally ill, they don't go to an event to take. They go there to give. And they give because they cannot bear for anyone else to feel in the kind of pain, to be in the kind of pain that they're in. They can't bear for 1 second to bring anyone else down. So they mask their illness like hell. And they make damn sure that they're making everyone in that room laugh. That's why usually the person in the room who is the most funny, the most jolly, the most bubbly, is more often than not the one who is in more pain. And therefore, you know, far from being negative or selfish or closed-hearted, they're usually the ones who are in the most pain and just want to make other people laugh and to give, to love, to be loved. No, they're the ones who give the most. That's what's part of what's led to them being mental ill, because they feel so damn much. You know, they feel emotions, anger, pain, joy, love, etc. to a greater degree than most people. You know, so they're not selfish people, anything but. You know, and you know, when you think of some of the famous people over the years who've gave a great deal of themselves, the majority of these people have been in extreme suffering and extreme pain at times of their life. You know, the people who have, the entertainers in the world who have gave the most joy, the most fun, the most laughter, the most inspiration to people. These people themselves have been concealing tremendous pain and suffering and sadness. But that was the very last thing they wanted to give out, because they didn't want anyone else to feel crap. You know, they just gave out love and joy. You know, when you think about people like the late Charlie Chaplin, for example, you know, who wrote the song Smile, you know, Smile Though Your Heart Is Aching, one of the most touching and beautiful and inspirational songs. And he made people, you know, laugh so much. Yet when you hear about his life, he had a very, very sad life. You know, his childhood and his youth he had a lot of pain and a lot of hardships, you know. And of course, there's the late, great, amazing Robin Williams, of which I was always a massive fan. And, you know, he came out with this quote once that I just burst out in tears when I read, because I thought, oh God, that is so true. And that is just how, a quote that basically says, and pretty much what I've just said, that, you know, the people who are in the most pain are usually those who are the most funny and smiley and make people laugh the most. And it's because these people cannot bear for a second to make anyone else feel bad, because they know what it is to feel worthless. They know what it is to be in pain, and they can't bear for anyone else to feel like that. And you know, it just broke my heart when I saw that comment, because I could just relate to it so badly. And like I said, unfortunately, a lot of people do succumb to mental illness, but There are champions out there. There are people who beat it, you know. There are, you know, and, you know, when somebody has a serious life-threatening physical illness, like cancer or any other kind of illness, which, you know, could have killed them, but they've beaten it, you know, they are told, oh, well done. Well done, you're awesome, you're brave, you're an inspiration, you're a warrior, you know. Which is fine because they are, you know, absolutely. You know, they're told this, they're given that pat on the back, they're saying, I'm so proud of you, you're a warrior, you're... Yet, you know, a person could say, you know, well, you know, yeah, I had mental illness. I was very ill for a long time, and it almost destroyed me. And you know, it nearly took my life on several occasions. But I'm still here, and I've beaten it. You know, you do get people who come out the other end of mental illness and they beat it. You know, those people, and you know, they don't get told this, and it's so sad, but those people should get told, you are fucking awesome. You're a warrior. You're an inspiration. You are a fucking star. You're a soldier. You're incredible. You know, because you are. You know, if you've beaten mental illness, you are every bit a warrior and an inspiration and incredible. You know, but they don't get told this. But that's because there's too great a lack of understanding of just how hard a battle these people have had to face. You know? And as I said, unfortunately, some people are in so much pain with mental illness that they see no other way out other than to end their life. And there are too many of these people, too many, that if they just had been given more understanding of their condition, if they'd been given the right kind of the compassion and the support and understanding and help that they needed, too many of them would still be here. And that's something which really breaks my heart. Excuse me a sec. And for someone to even talk about mental illness, for someone just to even open up about it and talk about it is incredible. You know, for someone to even admit, yes, I've been mentally ill, or I have mental illness, is incredibly brave and strong of them. You know, because as I said, in many cases, they're talking about an illness which almost killed them. You know, in my case, I can say that, you know, but they didn't let it kill them. You know, they didn't let it kill them because some part of them inside wanted to be here. Some part of them tried to speak louder than the illness because some part of them wanted to be here, to contribute to life, to be around other people, to give, to love, to be loved. So you can bet your boots, if somebody's fighting mental illness and they are doing their damnedest to fight it, they are anything but selfish. And it's just so unfair that so often, you know, every day, people with mental illness are being made to feel like they're selfish. And, you know, they're anything but. And, you know, like I said, the fact that they are, you know, they have this illness which has almost taken their life, but they're, you know, they've been trying to beat it, they've been battling it. That shows that, you know, there is a bit of them that wants to be here, that's stronger than the illness. And you know, if you've been strong enough to talk about mental illness, then you're speaking about something which is one of the hardest things to talk about. But it's because some part of you inside somewhere wants to get better. And just talking about it, just by talking about it that first time and admitting, yeah, I've been mentally ill. Yeah, I wasn't well, I was ill. That in itself is the first step on the road to recovery. So why shame people? Why are people shamed? Why shame people and ridicule them and silence them You know, there are too many people who I've seen and heard be like, don't talk to me. Go and see a doctor. You know, don't bring your problems to me. Don't bring your depression into my class. You know, all that does, the only thing that achieves is to push people back down right off the first few steps of the ladder to recovery that they've had the bravery to step up on. You're just pushing them right down back to square one by taking that attitude. You know, like I said, there's not enough compassion, there's not enough empathy and compassion and love towards mental illness. And I think, and another thing, just before I go on to that point, when I was talking about the importance of talking about mental illness, addressing it, acknowledging it, being the first step to getting better, what I want to say right now to anyone out there who is in pain and suffering, for the love of God, please, please, please talk to somebody. Do not stay silent. Staying silent about it, putting on a front for the sake of other people is the worst thing you can do. You know, talk about it. At least pick up the phone, talk to someone, tell somebody, say, I'm not too great today. You know, never, ever, ever for 1 second feel like a burden or a nuisance for talking about mental illness. Never feel that you're being dour, that you're being negative, that you're bringing the energy down by talking about your mental illness. You're bringing the energy up because you're acknowledging that a part of you wants to get better, to stick around for your loved ones, for your friends, for your family. You know, you're bringing the energy up by acknowledging that you want to stick around in the universe. And by being here, you're bringing the energy up, because how much duller and sadder would this world be without you? Because we're all unique. All of us have unique gifts to give to this world. And how much duller would this world be without you in it? How much sadder would people's lives be for not having you in it? You know, so you are bringing the energy up by addressing your mental illness, by acknowledging it. When you talk about mental illness, you're saying to it, yeah, you suck. You make me feel crap. But you know what? I'm better than you. You suck, but you're not going to beat me. I'm not going to be scared of you anymore. I'm not going to let you define me anymore. You know, when you talk about mental illness, when you address your mental illness, you're basically giving it that. You're saying to it, I'm not going to let you control me anymore. From now on, my life's mine, not yours. You know, it's when you stay silent about it. When people are encouraged to conceal their illness, when they are shamed for being ill, silenced, that makes the illness worse, because it's when you are quiet about it, because you think, no, I don't want to bring the energy down. They don't need to hear my problems. That's when the voices of depression get louder and say, yeah, because you know you're a burden. Yeah, you know, they'd be better off without you. Yeah, because, you know, you just bring them down anyway. You know, they don't need you. This is what depression will try and tell you. You know, if you stay quiet. But when you talk about it, and you acknowledge about, yeah, I've been ill. Yes, I'm ill. Yes, I have mental illness. But I'm here. I've turned up for you today. And yeah, I'm mentally ill. You know, what you're basically saying to the illness is, you know, I'm acknowledging you. I'm acknowledging you because you won't control me anymore. I'm acknowledging you because I'm going to beat you. You know, and you're basically giving it the finger. You know, so yeah, talk about mental illness. Give it the finger. Don't stay silent. Don't stay silent and quiet about it, because that's when it starts to grow little arms and legs and teeth. You know, talk about it. Don't shame yourself. Shame the illness. Talk about it and say, yeah, you suck. You've been sucking. You've been making me feel crap for too long, and I'm not having it anymore. Fuck you. You know, that's what you need to say to mental illness. You know, don't let the voices of other people who do not understand what you're going through define how you deal with what you're going through. You understand your own battle better than somebody who does not know you well or does not understand mental illness. You know you better. You know your own strength better. You know what I mean? So yeah. So never be shamed into not talking about mental illness. You talk the heck away. We need to talk about it more. That is one of the biggest reasons why it's so rife. Because of this reluctance, the shame to talk about it. And we need to talk about it, by God. If there's anything that we need to talk about more, it's mental illness. It's a subject that we need to bring out in the open. We need to talk about it. We need to acknowledge it. We need to acknowledge how many people suffer from it. More than you could ever possibly imagine. And that it does not mean that someone is negative or that they hate themselves or hate others or that they bring the energy down if they are mentally ill. It is not their fault that they are. And there are so many of us who have suffered from or are suffering from mental illness that we need to talk about it. Because that is the only way that we will begin to combat the problem. So yeah, we need to talk away about it. But, excuse me a sec. If I can find the page, it takes me on to my next point. Yeah. One of the biggest reasons I think why people do not talk about mental illness is because there's too much of a culture that we're in, especially British and American culture and Western culture, where people just don't want to take the time to talk about mental illness. I've learned how it affects people. There's not enough compassion, lack of compassion. Too many people are too wrapped up in themselves. Too many people are interested in their own ego, power, money. They say money is the root of all evil. I truly believe that. Absolutely. And we do live in a culture where monetary gain is praised, where we are the more material attributes of success we have, lots of money, big house, nice car, fancy designer clothes, the more of these material attributes that we have, the more successful we're considered to be. Which, as I've grown older, I've learned is bollocks, because I've been lucky enough to have some incredible friends over the years, and over recent years, or the past 2 years, I've made some amazing, very wise friends. A couple in particular who have been absolutely instrumental in changing the entire course of my life. And one of these friends in particular, a very wise man, hello Frank, said to me that happiness doesn't come from success. Success comes from happiness. You have to be happy first before you become successful. You can have lots of money, big house, big car, etc., and still not be happy. If you've got a big house, but you don't have friends that you can talk to, you don't have your loved ones there, you're not going to be happy. And at the end of the day, supposing you win 10 million quid on the lottery tomorrow, if the person you love the most came down with an illness and you had the money there to buy a cure for their illness, you would part with every single cent of that money in a second, because it wouldn't matter, because the people you love are what matter. So if you've got the people you love there, family, friends that you love, who love you, you're rich. You're rich. You've got a lottery win right there. You've got a pot of gold right there. You're already rich. And if you're doing what you love to do, if you're doing the things in life that make you happy, you've succeeded right there. You don't need to prove. You've bugger all to prove to anyone. You've got the people you love in your life, and if you're doing what makes you happy, you're rich and you're successful. Because it's all about being happy. Love and happiness. If you've got that in your life, you're rich. You're as rich as you'll ever need to be. And you're successful. And it's ridiculous that so many people have an idea to the contrary. And it's very sad that we live in a culture of a very consumerist, capitalist culture of me, I want. And every man and woman out for themselves and to hell with everyone else. you know, and, you know, this culture of more money, and, which is quite strange because I've made, it's a very curious and interesting observation I've made over the years, because I've worked with various people from various walks of life over the years. I've worked with people who lived in a cement house with a tin roof who got like $1 an hour, and I've worked with other people who were the richest people in that city and had more money than sense, you know. So I've worked with very rich people and I've worked with very poor people, and one curious observation that I've made, you know, I've also known people who started off working class like myself and then became rich. And one curious observation that I've made is, it's very strange. What you notice is that the more money a person acquires, the more material attributes they get, the more mean and selfish, detached, you know, emotionally detached, and ultimately more miserable they actually become. Makes you think, well, are these people really happy? I don't think so. And it appears that the more material stuff, money or whatever, the more a person acquires, the less they actually want to give. You know? It's ridiculous. But yeah, I've seen many people this way, and it breaks my heart because I think, God, no wonder so many of us are depressed. It just seems like too many people have got their priorities just fecked up, you know. And a lot of people just really need to change their mentality. It's not people who are depressed who have to just change their way of thinking and think more positive, and that'll get rid of the problem. It's all the people around them who need to change their way of thinking. You know, it seems to me. And yes, that's the only way we will combat any illness or pandemic, be it physical or mental, any illness at all. The only way we will combat illness is with love, consideration for others, not a me attitude and being all out for ourselves. You know, but with love and compassion and empathy, not with selfishness. And caring about our loved ones and other people's loved ones is something that we need to do. It's something that we have to do more than ever right now. You know, in the light of what we're going through with this pandemic, which is killing so many people. Because I've seen too many people out there that have just been thinking about their own interests, you know, during this lockdown. There have been a lot of incredibly selfish people who have just, the matters which have been of prime importance to them have been what they want and not the well-being of anyone else. I mean, none of us are enjoying this lockdown. It's not fun for any of us. We all want it to end eventually. And it will, in time. It's temporary. So we have to remind ourselves it's not forever. But this lockdown, as frustrating as it may be, it's necessary. It's necessary to save lives. Without it, more people will die. So it's necessary, you know. But there are too many people I've seen who are just pig-headed, ignorant and selfish. And they exercising their rights is more important than anything else. And when I say selfish, you know the kind of people that I'm on about. Those people who are going out with big banners, protesting the lockdown, protesting that it's their right, it's my right to go outside, it's my right to go wherever I want, as much as I want. It's my right as a citizen, and this lockdown's violating my rights. You know, and the coronavirus is just a hoax. It's a hoax by the government to control us, to take away our freedom and our rights, because it's my right to go outside. What are these people? You know, and I feel like saying to those people, well, you know, well done to you, because what you've basically just said is that your right, you know, your right to go to the beach, to a street party, whatever, exercising your right is more important than someone else's right to live. You know, your right to go out, whatever, is more important than the life of someone else's parent or child or grandparent. you know. And, you know, these people are going out and they're mixing and street parties at the beach, whatever, you know, with lots and lots of other people, lots of whom could be going around carrying the virus, showing no symptoms, and then these people themselves could, you know, go back home as a carrier, and then give that illness to people in their family who may already be sick or vulnerable, you know, a sick child, a parent, grandparent, someone else's sick child, a parent, a grandparent, you know. And, you know, I've seen so many people this way, and it's just, you know, but they don't give a toss because their rights are more important, and the selfishness of them just disgusts me. You know, nothing disgusts me more than just downright inconsideration and selfishness, you know, because this disease is not just killing sick people or people with pre-existing conditions. It is killing young, healthy people. You know, it is completely indiscriminatory. You know, this disease, this illness, the coronavirus, is one which can come for anyone at any time. And then if that person gets it, they just have to cross their fingers and just hope to God that they will recover, because there is no cure. You know, a lot of people, too many people are forgetting this. You know, there's no cure. You know, but people out there are just being selfish and just still just going around spreading the virus willy-nilly. And it's like, hello, you know, we're in lockdown for a fucking reason. You know, use the grey matter. You know, use this. You know, use this, and more importantly, use this. You know, if these people, I feel, you know, these people who want to go out and risk getting the illness and then pass it on to someone else, now I see it as like, you know, if you want to risk your own life, yeah, if you want to risk getting the illness, if you want to play Russian roulette with your life, that's your call, that's your prerogative, but at least have a little bit of consideration for other people and for other people's lives. You know, don't be a tit, you know, don't be a selfish prick. You know, have a little bit of consideration for other people who this illness could potentially kill, people who it does kill. You know, at least have consideration for other people. You know, it's not all about you. Yes, we all want to go outside. Yes, you're frustrated with this lockdown, we all are, but this isn't about you, okay? This is about other people. This is about us, all of us, having consideration for our friends, neighbours, and their families. You know, we all have to exercise compassion right now, and consideration and respect for other people. It's not all about you and what you want, and to hell with everything else, you know. So don't be an arsehole, you know. There's too many selfish arseholes out there right now, and it is one thing which really makes me angry, you know. And, you know, if any of the said blatant, you know, selfish, ignorant people, you know, are violently disagreeing with me on any of this, or, you know, happening, you know, cheerio, off you fuck. Please just, you know, delete yourself from, you know, because people who are selfish and inconsiderate and ignorant, I do not care for at all, to be honest. I just do not have time for people like that. I think there's no need for it. There's no excuse for people being selfish and ignorant and uncaring. You know, I mean, we all want to get back to normal, but normal is not something which is going to happen anytime soon. Normal will happen when this illness, when this virus goes away, and when people stop dying. You know, we can't expect normal when people are still dying from this virus, you know. And the thing is, as well, this virus is not just going to go away like that. The selfishness of people and their disregard for who may contract this illness will cause the disease to rise again, and will just ultimately cause us to go back in another lockdown. And the thing is, you know, we're not at the end of it yet. This disease, you know, it's not going to be away tomorrow or next week or next month. And it's going to spike. You know, because when you think back to like 1918, you know, we had the Spanish flu in the winter of that year, the The following year, the summer of that following year, what happened? The disease spiked. The result was it killed more people than everyone who died in the First World War put together. You know, in that 1 year with the virus. You know, and this could easily, very easily be the case with the coronavirus if, you know, if we had a spike, which there is a very, very strong likelihood of. And, you know, whether scary as it may be, this is something we have to keep in mind. You know, this virus is real. You know, it's not a hoax. It's not something that was just fabricated or made up. You know, people are dying from it, for goodness sake. You know, and like I said, it's, you know, the people who are being just pig-headed and ignorant, and I do not friggin' care to associate with them. But yeah, we need to think of other people right now, to think of loved ones, and we have to put what we want personally to the back burner. Yeah, I mean, we will come through this. It's temporary, it's not forever. We will get to the end of it, and we will come through the other end, but only with love, only with compassion, respect, empathy, and wanting to protect other people. Not by disregard for others and with selfishness. So I am going to wrap up soon. Those who know me will know I like to talk, so you're probably thinking, thank God. But yeah, I'll wrap this up. I'll end on a hopeful note. I want to say too, because I know that there will be many people out there watching this who are greatly triggered with the effects, you know, the anxiety and isolation provoked by the coronavirus and lockdown and stuff. I know there's a lot of people out there who are not too great mentally right now. Who are not in a good place. And I want to say to anyone, I want to say once again to anyone who's suffering out there, to anyone who's suffering in pain, you are not alone. You are worthwhile. You are important. You are special. You are loved. You know, if you weren't loved, you wouldn't have family and friends staying back because they are protecting themselves and protecting you from the virus because they love you that much. They could not bear for you to get the virus and then die and not be in their lives anymore. That would just break them. You know, they love you that much that it just doesn't bear thinking about for them if they got the virus, you know. So you're loved. You're very loved. You're special. You're important. You're strong. You are brave. And you will come through this. You know, you must believe that. And things will get better. That's something which we all have to remember as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say for today. I will be back again soon with another little video, a much shorter one and a much more cheerful one, I promise. But meantime, I will go just now. Do take care, everybody. Please, please look after yourselves. Stay safe. Giving you all a great big virtual hug. Since I can't give everyone a real hug. The past couple of years I've been changing to a right hug monster, so I'm missing my cuddles, but I'm not alone there, I'm sure. But something we're all missing right now is the physical contact with people. But you know, once this virus thing's over, you know, it means that we will hopefully, you know, we'll have our loved ones there, safe, healthy, and we'll be able to go and hug the living daylights out of them, you know, and feel so grateful and thankful for them that they're still there. You know, and that they're safe and that we have them in their lives, and be appreciative of them. You know, so that's why it's so important that we protect the people we love right now. So yeah, so do stay safe, look after yourselves, take care, lots and lots and lots of love. Great big kiss to you all, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye.